In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Please be seated. Between an old wooden crate and a rusty drum of a washing machine, in a vast garbage dump, a sunflower grew. She was the only flower for miles. No one quite knew how she got there. And she was pretty lonely. She would go to sleep every night sad, thinking that she was all by herself, and she would have dreams about fields of sunflowers with butterflies floating around. One morning, a scruffy old sparrow landed right in front of her and looked at her and said, "You are so beautiful. You are the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." And the sunflower said, "No, I am not. I am short and ugly. My sisters are 10 times bigger than I am, and their flowers are 10 times brighter. I don't know what you're talking about." The sparrow said, "I think you're beautiful." And every day after that, he would come to talk to her. And every day after that, the sunflower grew a little bit taller, and her flower was a little bit brighter. They became friends. One day, the sparrow didn't come. And he didn't come the next day or the day after that. And the sunflower was pretty worried. But when she woke up the next morning, she saw the sparrow lying there with its wings limp. And she said, "Are you dead, my friend? What's the matter?" The sparrow opened its eyes just a little bit and said, "I haven't found anything to eat at the garbage dump for days, but I did not want to die alone, so I came here to die with my friend." The sunflower said, Wait. This doesn't have to happen." And she bent her heavy head over, and some of her seeds fell to the ground. She said, "Eat those seeds, and you'll be okay." So with the last bit of strength that sparrow had, he cracked open a couple of those seeds and ate them, and then he fell asleep. The next morning, he was starting to feel better. And he jumped up and he turned to the sunflower to tell her thank you. And he was horrified by what he saw. Her leaves hung down to the side. Her petals were limp. He said, "What's going on? What's the matter with you?" She said, "My friend, don't worry. My time is at an end. But isn't it amazing what we've shared?" She said, "I was so in despair, and then I met you, and I had a will to live, and I gave you seeds that gave you life. Isn't it wonderful what we've done for one another?" She said, "There's still some of those seeds on the ground. You eat some of them, but plant some of them too, so that next year there can be more sunflowers, and sparrows can fly around them like butterflies." So this story from my Margaret Silf book, I think, is a wonderful setup to the gospel today. But first, let's give it a little more context with the readings that we heard. So in Isaiah, we hear about the suffering servant, despised and rejected, bruised and bloodied, and yet willing to offer himself as a gift for all of us. And then in the letter to the Hebrews, the author talks about Jesus as the great high priest. They could not have imagined a person of higher office, a person more important than the high priest. And Jesus became the great high priest, but not so that he could take your offerings of calves and sheep, but so that he could become an offering himself. Offering, sacrifice, love, teaching us how to love. So in the gospel today, Jesus is walking with his friends, and the two brothers come up and say, "Hey, we have a favor that we want you to grant to us." And Jesus, who knows what Jesus is thinking at this point, but he says, "Can you drink the cup that I drink?" Now this is a cultural metaphor. In Jesus' day, the father, the head of the household, would fill all the cups around the table, and you drank what you got. You drank the cup that was poured for you. And so Jesus is saying, can you drink the cup that you are given? And they say, yes, we can. And Jesus says, this is not what you think. This is not how you think it's going to be. But okay. So in the meantime, the other disciples are here in this conversation where, there's maneuvering happening, and they get mad because they thought they wanted to be first, right? They're thinking, why didn't I think of that? And so they come to Jesus and they're mad, and Jesus says, okay, let's start over. If you want to be my disciple, then you have to be not the ruler, but the servant. You have to be not the first, but the last. You have to be not the one who offers other people or tells other people what to do, but who offers yourself. That is love. That is my disciple. They needed to hear that message. We need to hear that message. So this morning, we contemplate what it means to form each other, what it means to be a community together, how much we need each other. This morning at the 10:30 service, I have some people coming from my former parish, St. Thomas. And as I was thinking about their visit this morning, I was thinking that they are the ones who formed me. That was the first place I was a rector, and don't tell them this, but I didn't know what I was doing. And they're the ones who taught me how to be a priest. They're the ones who taught me how to be a leader. And I owe them an incredible debt of gratitude for their generosity and their patience and their kindness. So I'm delighted to see them today. Forming each other, needing each other. Today we're baptizing DJ. You don't know what you're getting yourself into, young man. We are baptizing him into a life of self-offering. And frankly, he is not going to learn that from watching the TV news, right? He's not going to learn that from the world where we offer other people to our best advantage and cruelty seems to be a game. DJ is going to learn what he needs to learn from us, from his community of faith. We are going to help him to be formed to see the value in others, to love others, even as we see the value in him. I was at the Help Network Awards banquet this week. I'm on their board. And one of the recipients of an award in his thank you speech said, "Thank you for seeing my value." Isn't that beautiful? Thank you for seeing my value. That really touched my heart because that is the Christian life, right? Seeing each other's value and lifting that up. And we're going to teach DJ how to do that by the way we love and treat each other and the world. We need each other. We form one another. And this week we also begin an opportunity to think about how we can build this community up. We learn holiness from each other. This is a community that we call St. John's Episcopal Church that moves us to holiness. But that doesn't happen without everyone participating, without everyone giving of their time, talent, and treasure. This is my favorite month of the year, Stewardship Month. And we are asked to pray about what we can offer to grow the love of this parish and help it spill forth into our community. We need everyone to participate. Everyone is precious. Every gift is valued and valuable and precious as well. And so I ask you to consider as we think about baptism and formation and who we are and who we want to be, what can you offer to this community of yourself that will continue to help us to grow in love and care, compassion and justice? Amen.